husband and her husband accepting the behavior she had after she already saying he was gay,
Yes,
and
yes,
all kind of thing. But we now know it's a racist problem, and
yes,
whatever,
yes,
you
yes,
know.
yes. And I will agree. I will agree that maybe she should have
The
handled it a different way. Yes. Hello.
right, yeah.
Okay, now let's go to our favorite person, but we're going
So
first
that,
to
yes,
hold on
I'm
to
there.
to
So
all.
the people,
It seems to be cutting off a lot. So.
the people investigating it, oh, the people investigating the thing between Evans and thing, how will that affect them on the
Well,
investigations?
well, how do
Who's
you?
they investigating?
Well, how do you think it will affect them?
Uh,
How you think it will affect the
Let me
entire
tell you,
situation right now?
the woman, the lady, the human resource lady, will say things even if it's true or not. It will affect him. It will affect him. It will
And they
affect
might
him
they might
because
even they
you
might
had
even
outside help. Your wife come.
that's so very true, ma'am. And I think that's a lesson for other people. Be very careful how you deal
Yeah,
with such
because
cases.
you have people investigating, and you come in and put your own piece. Right now, the labor people will not come and ask these questions. They will take what the human resource manager lady
Yeah,
says,
it's going to
because
be
they will not come and ask me research. And then if she was the lawyer for truth, if she was a lawyer for truth, she would have gone to the labor department, do something. Do you understand? But she
yes,
goes
but
straight to the mouth of the
yeah,
thing
but you
and get
have to
false statement,
understand,
unless
darling.
she's a lawyer for
But
truth.
listen to that, my dear. You have to understand. Louise is a wife who is frustrated, has been frustrated for a little while, and even now they're trying to put a little thing together. She still wants to find out why Evan has not been returned to work. It is getting very frustrating. She went and she passed her frustration somewhere else. Some people will react
Well, I
that.
guess
Hold on. Some people will react that way. It doesn't mean that it is the right way. And I think that's a lesson for other people out there. That your right can turn your wrong if you do not go to the proper authorities and if you do not do things the right way.
her writing to her wrong. That's what she did.
Yes.
She turned her writing wrong because she was physical with the person. She knocked the person. So yeah.
Now, let's swing it. Let's talk about Owen now. Let's talk about Owen now. Owen. Yes, Owen not going to the barber shop.
Owen.
Yes, Owen. Owen going to the barber shop and he there crying.
Owen
Upable
in
this
love.
Owen in love.
Owen in love. Owen in love with Cynthia. With Cynthia. In
Yeah,
love with
Cinti boy,
Cynthia.
Cinti boy. Oh God. Just now,
Cynthia.
let me
Ah.
just say hello, good evening to someone. Want to say good evening to Charm Sweets. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining. Yes, Owen is in love. Owen is in love, but you have to understand. You have to understand that all the support that Owen was giving Cynthia, Owen has been
Mm.
there and Owen has seen the things that Lincoln has done to Cynthia. And Owen is saying to himself
Mm.
and thinking to himself and believing to himself, he can do better.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
But
saying? Okay? But you
yeah.
see, Owen has to
The other one
understand.
not.
Not only that, Owen must understand that Cynthia has been through a lot. And it's not just so. Cynthia just going to let go of it. Yes, Owen has been
Mm.
a very, very, very good source of strength for her. But remember, it's
Mm.
not just so you're coming out of that. You understand what I'm saying? Some people are stronger than other people. But he has to understand and probably just bear a little patience if he really wants to, kindle something with the lady. And
But
the fella's done giving him jokes and say he's a shabbing. I just had to throw that one in there. Yes, yes.
Owen wanted Cynthia, and Lincoln collect under Owen.
Well, I mean, something. I mean, I believe though that Lincoln had Cynthia already.
That Cynthia told him, I am not in love with you like that or something. So like I'm not in love with you.
I don't exactly. 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 Okay?
She made her friend. So Owen should just leave that alone. They had nothing in the first place. So Owen should just.
I understand that.
He did his part. So now
I believe he should just wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then, darling. So, thanks so much for your call. I know you want to call back when I start with the other piece, but thanks so much for the call, darling.
Well, I need to speak about Lincoln.
You want to talk about Lincoln just now? Just now. They have another piece. Just now.
Okay.
You'll call back.
All right.
Okay, darling. All right. Yes. So again, of course, the little advice coming from our caller, Lincoln should just leave it alone. I think that Lincoln should just, let's see how it is. I mean, you have to understand where the lady has been, what she's been through, and so on. Yes, you have been there for her, but wait your time. Patience. You understand? But something a little bit more disturbing now. The little child in the preschool. People, you all have to understand that you see children's minds at a very tender age. They're like sponge. They're soaking up everything. When you see they hear things, they listen, they're curious, they want to hear what it is. Okay? Some little children are more advanced than other little children. Okay? So if they hear certain things about your parents, your brother, your this, your that, you at school with them, okay? Children are that way. They can be very, 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 very troublesome, okay, in their teasing. I don't want to say, that is the way I prefer to phrase it. They can be very, very, very troublesome in their teasing. So, the young woman goes to pick up her child. The child is crying. She is now questioning the child. What's happening with you? And so on and so on. And certain things are coming out. And then the child saying how they calling that person homo, calling that person names, calling that person this. The child now starts to ask, what does that mean? Because the child is being teased at school. Now, you know something? I blame parents. And it has to start somewhere. And it has to start not just in the school, but it has to start at home. Charity begins at home. And if you have a child that is going to a preschool, okay? You have a child that is going to a preschool, and that child likes to tease other children, okay? For any reason, you need to straighten that child out. That should not be accepted in any school, anywhere. That's one. Number two, when big people are having conversation, little children should not be around listening. I say that for somebody or some people. When big people are having conversation, little children should not be around to listen to what's going on. You breeding, you see that little generation coming up there? Okay? They following everything that the generation before them doing. And if you notice the trend that's going on now, okay? The generations are doing too well right now. So you have now little children taking the little sips you on the gossip and everything, and they're taking it and they're going to school. And now they're teasing the other little children based on what they hear their parents or their sisters or their aunties or their uncles or whoever else at home saying. Now that is a school environment. I do not want to jump on the teachers too much, because the teachers have a role to educate, of course, to discipline, to nurture, to shape and mold. Yes. But their first priority is to shape that child's mind, okay, especially at that age, to prepare that child for school, for infant school, for primary school, for secondary school, for tertiary. That is what the role of a teacher is, primarily. Of course, the teacher has to teach them good values, inculcate them kind of values and disciplines in them. But when you have children coming from homes, and all they can do It's comments in the people in the school. You cannot blame the teachers. That's one. You have to blame the parents. And it starts at home. Look at that now. The child is at school. She's been teased. They've been called names. The institutions that we have in St. Lucia should look closely at these things, especially at the school level. You see a lot of children, they come from good homes, good families. And all of a sudden, when they get older, they break out into something else. Where you think they learn it? Not in the home sometimes, you know. It's in the school, the classroom. When they lie in with their friends. The friends now, that is the breeding ground there right now. That is what is happening there. That the child now is being teased and hearing these kinds of names, these kinds of things. These kinds of things. Go to you. All right. Hello, good evening, good night. You're on the air.
Yes, good night.
Good night, sir. How are you doing?
I'm there, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't think it's wise to send your child to a private school?
You know, in certain instances, I would say yes. And in certain instances, I would, it depends. I think it depends.
Because with a private school, maybe your child will be socializing with those children with the value, with good values, and it can rub on your child, and the child begin to be one of them too.
Do you think, sir? Do you think that these values that we're talking about, that you're talking about there, do you think that these values exist even in the private schools today?
Well, it may, to a certain extent, it may. Because if you, for example, the kind of value the parent have, those children normally have the same value in those private schools. The parents are doing pretty well,
Okay.
And it can rub on your child. And your child maybe end up socializing with those types of people.
Okay.
And by socializing with those type of people, may have a better chance in the future to climb up, because no one will bring her down.
Okay.
Because if you're socializing with people who will bring you down, it's down you'll go.
Right. I agree. I most certainly agree with that. Yes.
To be in a private school, it costs money. But as you know, if you want your child to have certain value, maybe that's the trick.
You may have something there, but let me tell you something. Let me make you understand something. Whether it is in the private school or in the public school, okay, it still starts at home.
At home.
It must start at home.
Because you're saying that child might leave the private school, go back home and get polluted again.
That's right. No matter, let me make you understand something. Charity begins at home. If the home environment is not conducive for proper upbringing, you cannot depend on the school to do it.
So they say that you could get them out of the mess, but you can't get the mess out of them.
That is true. Very true. Very true.
Because a lot of people, as soon as they have been very successful and they live in a poor environment where it's not healthy, they normally pack up and they go and live into those posh places that are expensive.
Right.
They don't stay in the environment to make a contribution, but they pack up and leave. Because I wonder why they leave, because, they don't want to stay in that environment.
Well, maybe some of the good values that they raise up with, they take it and they go with that. They go with it too, eh?
But even though they
and then it's not filtered down.
But sometimes, even though they leave that environment, they still will see the same problems in the mind. Even though they go and live in a posh place, the problem still is in the mind. Huh?
You're touching on something very, very deep there, sir. Very deep.
Sometimes, I look at the whole society, and, I'm saying that people who could make a contribution to the poor environment, they leave, and the environment remain the same. Instead of staying and make a contribution to develop the environment that is not good, help to develop it, they just move.
Very true.
So if they move, who will remain to make it better? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I say when some people, well, they know where the problems lie. That's why they move in.
I believe sometimes, sir, it's not just because they know where the problems lie to. They just want to move around it.
And another thing again,
but let me just make a point on that. Do you believe that if you run away from it, it will get any better? Don't you think that you should probably, find some like-minded persons and try to deal with the situation?
That's true. Another thing again, when I looking at our society, there's a lot of, gay.
Yeah.
There is a lot of gay that do not really express themselves because they're afraid that being victimized.
That is very true.
So they're not being themselves, That is why that's why when they leave St. Lucia and they go into a country where they've been accepted, they will able to express themselves better.
Now, you have to, you make a point there, because let me tell you something. Among that community, among people that we're talking about gay people and people of the LGBTQ community. There are lawyers. There are counselors.
Yeah.
There are social workers. There are police. There are nurses. There are all kinds of people. Okay? All kinds of professions within that community. And because of their sexual preferences, people want to victimize against them. And we are losing, we are losing a lot of talent. We are losing a lot of professionalism. We are losing a lot of things when we victimize against people like that. You do not know who will be the next PM, Governor General, Police Commissioner, whoever. You do not know, but you're victimizing.
Another thing that really crippled them too, fear.
That is very true.
So because of fear, you see, they're forced to do what they don't want to do.
That is very true.
And we cannot have our gay live in that condition.
No.
That is why they take what do you call it?
Refuge.
To those international countries where they will be accepted and where they will have a fully right to express themselves,
I believe so.
Because we are small-minded people in St. Lucia.
Let me tell you something, sir. I believe we are losing out on a lot of talent and ability when we behave in such manner.
And they possess a lot of talent,
I'm telling you.
And those talent has been just suppressed.
Yes.
Because they do not feel accepted in those environments.
Exactly.
And we have to be very careful that our young people need to open up their mind. Open up. There is so much to learn from the differences that exist from God, And we do not want to open our minds, Even now, the grown-up too.
The problem, I think the major problem is that we judge people too quickly. We like to judge people. We believe we are the gods here. We are God. We are judge, jury, and executioner. So we want to judge somebody else, but we're doing worse than them.
Because the people that we should be afraid of are the people that do not really, that live in a normal life, They feel they're normal, but yet they're not normal,
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, sir.
So, even the women has been victimized too. The men has been victimized. The gay men, the gay women has been victimized. So they can't really... When I see one is wearing a particular clothes, I say, that's not the person, man. They're afraid to really express themselves because they're afraid to wear the right thing. Because of persecuted, they will be harassed, they will be have fear. Someone gonna do them something. Someone that don't know better will do them something. So they have to do things to please the few that is ignorant.
I believe sometimes it's even a form of protection for themselves also. I believe sometimes it's even a form of protection for themselves.
Yeah,
also.
to protect themselves because for them not become a target. So
That's
they've been forced to wear what they don't want to wear.
And be someone they not necessarily want to be.
Because if you pretending to be somebody you're not yourself. You're just pretending. You cannot express yourself the way you should.
That's right.
But when you're free to express yourself, then you'll see the true value of our gay female and the gay men.
That's
We'll
right.
see the true value of them when they will be able to express themselves.
That's right.
They can't really express themselves how they want, because in that small environment where everybody is so close-minded, when they see you passing, you've been persecuted, you've been even victimized, you've been even pelted by stones too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not something that we should tolerate, and of course, it is not something that should be
No,
tolerated.
but sometimes when you hear the news, something happened to certain gay people say, "That's right, man. That's gay," as though they're no human, as long as them, they try to use the Bible to justify what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As though the Bible condemned that, the Bible this, that, the Bible that.
Like I said, they playing judge, jury, and executioner all at the very same time.
Huh?
Which is they playing judge, jury, and executioner
Now,
all at the very same time, which is
something
wrong.
that people don't want to do. When to discuss those things, people get so emotional, so angry. Of what? Something that has been there for donkey years.
Let me ask you something, sir. Let me ask you something.
Uh-huh.
Do you believe it is their right to choose?
Who?
The LGBT, those who are gay, those who
Let
are...
me tell you.
Do you believe? No, I'm asking. Do you believe it is their right to choose?
But it's something that is very tricky, huh? Someone who born dek, you telling me they was choose to be dek?
No. I'm simply asking. The person
Gay
wants
is
to be
not
that.
a choice.
You're sure about that?
Because if it's a choice, well, a man that is normal wouldn't want to transform themselves into a woman. Never.
Okay.
I don't think it's a choice, because everybody wants the best for themselves. Because if you're born that way, you'll find that it's the best for you because you have no choice.
Okay.
You used to it. But because I talked to a man, he tell me in the new life, I tell him, what do you want to born? You want to born a woman or a man? He tell me, I want to born a man. Because the sweetness of what he's enjoying, man, he want to born back a man.
Yeah.
So you see, you'll ask a gay, in the new life, would you want to born you'll ask a male gay, in the new life, would you want to born a gay again? He said, yes, man. But to him, that's normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a very good contribution from you, sir. But
Anyway,
we'll have to take it here. Very good contribution from the fella, but I still believe it is their right to choose whether that's the life they want to live. You cannot force your belief on anyone else. You cannot do that. You should allow people to live their life and don't play judge, jury, and executioner over their lives. Okay? There's only one God. There's only one judge, and he's going to judge all of us at the end of the day. So just allow and let people, okay? It is their right. Give them their rights. Respect them. Respect them. Let us go a little thing, and of course I have to end with Lincoln, because Lincoln ain't changing at all. And I know the lady go call back just now, but I'm going to say it boldface. Lincoln, Awagaza, your goose cook. I'm very sorry. So Cynthia goes, and Cynthia approaches Lincoln. And again, you can see Cynthia is trying her best. You know, she has made a commitment in marriage to love, honor, to stick by him through thick and thin, for good or for bad, for better or for worse. But Lincoln don't do anything until Cynthia now has to tell him off and tell him and stand up to him and look at him and say, all that, after all that, you still not learning? Well, hey now, partner, you inside and I am outside. You are bound, I am free. I can live my life. I can do what I want. And that should have served as a lesson to you for you to change your ways. You have a daughter who loves you, and you're ready to eat her. You have a family who has been there for you. Let despite the little, everybody has the little choices. People will not agree on everything, but that is your daughter, your flesh and blood, and you victimizing her. You jump in on her. You want to do all kind of evil things to members of your own family. And Cynthia is saying, okay, well, Hannah, stay there. Now what you want to do? Well, stay there. I am out. I am out. You are in. You're not learning? Face it. Of course, we'll have to stop it here for the man. And of course, we have run out of time, but it was a pleasure. And of course, want to say a good evening to Mr. Jacob, who is listening online. I want to say good evening to you. So you should have called, sir. But yes, 6 minutes after the other 9, of course, it has been a pleasure being with you here once again. God's willing, next Monday we will have another exciting episode of the program I Write For You. But before I leave, if you see something happening, it is your duty. Something that is happening that is wrong, sorry. It is your duty to stand up and to speak up against it. Okay? If you're a good person and you see something bad happening and you do nothing, the bad will continue. And at some point, it will affect you. You see something that is not going right. It is your duty to stand up and speak up about it. Of course, I'd like to say good evening to each and every one of you. Thanks for listening. This has been another program, I Write. Thanks for joining. God's willing, I'll be with you next week. Good night.
I Write. St. Lucia's latest radio drama.
This man is making me crazy. I cannot deal with this.
With benefits, I Write.
I just can't with all of these responsibilities.
Every Monday.
I hear the two. And you prepare.